So let's see how bad this works out. I'll tell you later. Here we go. Unintelligible, implausible, meritless Nazi quantum grammar. I did a video on the fact, not the idea, that deliberately misinterpreting not even legal terminology, but just using ordinary English language in a warped, twisted up way so it can mean something random you decide, and calling this quantum parse grammar. This is done by Russell J. Gould and David Wynn Miller at one time, and I think one of them is dead. But anyway, a 2012 started YouTube channel called Humble Disciple of Yah, or Yay, instead of calling him God or whatever, Yahweh, decided to post a comment. Now, I normally don't call out the person much, but if your entire favorites list and playlists are nothing but people saying things that are just non-real, like calling every white person an Edomite so that you can dehumanize them so that it's okay to kill them, which is what one of the channels does, I have the right to point that out. So let's get on with a little bit more of this. Waptek is clearly reading from the rarely found net slander and ancient posts. Counterpoint. I looked up the history of all of this and found out it was done as a way by someone to bind up the works in a court case, trying to prevent himself from having to pay his taxes. That's the entire purpose, intent, and reasoning. This person did not discover a secret, hidden language within English that is used by the courts. This mythology that was created from whole cloth was something the guy produced in court to waste the court's time and delay having to pay his fucking taxes. Which, if you don't know about it, if you delay how long it takes for you to pay your taxes, they just keep increasing the amount you have to pay, so you won't do that. Everyone has to pay a certain amount of taxes on income or windfall or whatever. If you don't like that, change the goddamn laws. If you don't like it, go do something. Lying in court about the meaning of the word the? No. Then Waptek adds his own ignorant rubbish. Waptek obviously knows nothing of what he is talking about. Talking out his ass. And you know it. No, I'm explaining the history of language and someone lying about it by creating a whole new misinterpretation of it only for the legal system? And then someone else says, well, we have to apply it to reality. Okay, so you create a language, it's a created language by these guys, that doesn't have the ability to work. This can also be referred to as reduced instruction set programming. I'm going to use that as a joke here, but really, there is a way of making a computer work with a smaller number of instructions, but you have to make really long, convoluted explanations to the computer to tell it do things that are simple, like adding, subtracting, and dividing. But if you needed to do a bunch of really simple things, it speeds up the processing. This is the opposite end of the spectrum. This is literally just misinterpreting shit on purpose so you can win a fucking argument on the internet. It has no practical value. If you wanted to do a language and grammar and word meaning analysis and decoding, this is not how to do it. This is how to make it harder to understand things, not easier. And this is the entropy rule in language. Now, you are talking to someone who has actually studied the subject. Language, grammar, communication, spelling, and the legal system. One of the reasons laws are now written in plain English without using special language is so that everybody can interpret it directly, putting it in plain English of the time. Instead of using archaic, almost symbolic language like you guys would call it, which was done a lot. And the idea here is that the legal system should not make it impossible for ordinary people to understand it. He took that meme of the legal system being built to be hard for ordinary people to understand and decided to make it even harder. And again, the original purpose, the original intent of this man, of all these people, was just to gum up the works in a court case, but that they were going to lose anyway. And yes, Russell J. Gould and David Wynn Miller's disciples and themselves have lost all of their cases. The best they can hope for is having people decide that it's not worth the effort of letting them do it. But because they now make money at it and have become cult leaders, the legal system is not going to just let them walk because they're tired of dealing with their bullshit. They have gradually outlawed their bullshit. When you try, not if, when you try to pull this shit, Just like sovereign citizens lying about being boat captains, you are told no. And that's the end of it, because they've heard it before and it's been asked and answered. A court case that has shown that this behavior is not applicable in court can be used to tell you you can't do this. When, not if, you ignore the court's instruction and then begin this gobbledygook, they just say that you're not allowed to represent yourself because you're not competent. You're an incompetent attorney. All of us are, but you're more incompetent. And you're claiming, I know that I'm full of it, or quoting slander. No, I did a simple top-down check. If someone says that the word up cannot be used in a sentence a certain way, but it has been for centuries, they are wrong. That's all. It's not some secret, hidden, coded logic that'll free us all. All right? If you want to use purely logical-based communication, Esperanto's a better starting point. And I guarantee you that these individuals will change the logic of every sentence they come across to fit the situation. They're not doing it so that it's locked in space and time to where that you are encumbered by your own language. And they say that's why they're doing it. We're freeing you from being encumbered, meaning meaning is gone. It's meaningless drivel. Sorry, but you seem like a bitter homeless man acting as if you know it all of what you're talking about. No, I'm just a person who can look up the history and the original motivation of your guru. And remember, you're the fucker who's following a channel that says all white people deserve to be murdered because they're white. Yeah, he's a black guy, by the way. No, you did. Go back and look at your subscriptions. I checked them out quickly. This is quite sad, or this is quite sad to see. Oh, okay, I'm sorry. I'm nearsighted and stupid. This is quite sad to see and hear. Poppicock bullshit, you're a moron, classic moron. Okay, basically what you've done here is come here and say that I'm lying knowingly and I'm requoting slander and ancient information. The original assumption and assertion by the person who claimed that he discovered something new and exciting about the English language is that it has hidden meanings in the legal system and he's not consistent with his definitions of what the words are. That's like me telling you that a coded phrase last week changes its meaning depending on what I want it to be. That's not even special pleading, it's just bullshit. You are wrong. That's all. That's about as much of a bitter homeless man as I can be. Okay? You're just another idiot trying to win an argument on the internet. That was your first mistake. Next, I'm letting you comment post. I'm going to let everybody else tell you the same thing, or you can alter it later. The archive of your comment is below. And again, you're the one who's part of the crowd that decides to say one thing and do another before it's done to you. Please stop claiming to be part of or associated with God, which is why you use that name. You're not godly. You're the devil.